The reason you're trying so hard and you continue to fail is because you're solving the wrong problems the wrong way. Many of us try to brute force our way through our big complex problems. We might make a little bit of progress and then we snap right back. For me, it was watching 2 hours of motivational videos and still struggling to take action. If you're new here, I'm Zaki. I help people that feel stuck in life actually take action. If you're interested in that, please hit that subscribe button. To save you some time, this video is aimed specifically at people who have problems that are completely stumping them and they don't know what to do about it. The lessons will be pretty much applicable to every problem. I will be drawing upon my personal experience, which is significantly struggling to take action, so that I can illustrate the points to you. When we attempt to bulldoze through our problems, we find that sometimes we can act our way into a new way of thinking. For the more complex and bigger problems, we need a far more nuanced and intelligent approach to beating them. The first step, and this is absolutely necessary, correct identification of the problem. I had a really severe avoidance problem. I mean, it was really bad. I would avoid doing things for months and months. I couldn't study and I didn't know why. So it turns out I had a whole interconnected web of smaller component problems that were synergizing against me. I had to identify each of these smaller problems first. It was through looking externally, so on the internet, for internal answers that took me so long to figure out how to fix my problems. But if it wasn't for using the internet, I probably never would have known where to look in the first place. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you some typical, more like transdiagnostic factor type of issues so that you know where to look and then you can figure out ways to solve them. I'm going to make videos for that in the future. I had problems like executive dysfunction, extreme perfectionism, boredom intolerance, distress intolerance, alexithymia, isolation, poor mental health, poor physical health, paralysis of initiation, PTSD, just to name a few. So to us, when we use simple ways, like trying to brute force our way through big problems, it feels like we're using bows and arrows to fight against an enemy that has intercontinental ballistic missiles. We need to identify the smaller problems first. If you have trauma and that's causing your issues, you need to dig up the issues and find a way to work through it. If you have poor emotional coping skills or emotional numbness like I did, you need to be able to identify that you do in fact have those problems and then look up guides online on how to solve it. What causes people to try to brute force their way through complicated problems is usually because they're only focused on the externals, they're only focused on the behaviors that they do. And because of that, you conclude that I'm just lazy. If you think that you are lazy, you are not lazy. There are very, very few people that are actually just lazy. Very few people are like that. You need to focus on what your mind is doing when you're procrastinating. While you're doing it, you need to focus on what your mind is avoiding. It's going to be painful to do, but you need to focus on what your mind is avoiding. Being aware of what your mind is doing is what will give you the answers. All the answers you need to solve your internal problems will be found internally. And after you've correctly identified your issues, you need to choose which ones you're going to fight. Solving some component problems will have much greater results on taking down the larger problem. It's the 80-20 rule all over again. Choosing to fight some problems, like the transdiagnostic factors, rumination, alexithymia, distress intolerance, focusing on tackling those problems will be very, very high impact. So by prioritizing which problems to solve, you can get greater results in much less time. So the next part is realistic solutions. Of course. Once we have picked our battles, we need an intelligent battle plan. Say that you're struggling with your discipline. It's pretty common for people who are struggling with discipline to try to do something really extreme, like top-down work. They will try to schedule and turn their entire day into a routine and stick to that very, very strictly. Usually it doesn't work. That's what I used to do. It doesn't work. You need to start from the bottom up. Lots of the things that you try to improve on are skills. You start at your skill level and you continue to work your way up. And many of us have this type of arrogance. We think that we're above doing something, but we're actually not. You're going to go and try to fight a level 50 monster with a stick, and you're like at level 2. You need to fight at what your skill level tells you to fight. When I started to work on my distress tolerance, I did really, really simple things. On my way to work, I would always listen to music because it got my mind off of things. So I stopped listening to music on my way to work. And I would find myself at 3 different points during my train journey, telling myself, let's put some music on, man. It sounds ridiculous. It sounds pathetic. We shouldn't really be judging ourselves, but I mistakenly hold myself to very high standards sometimes. And I thought it was a bit pathetic that 3 times during a train journey, I couldn't sit still with my own thoughts. But that, even though it sounds really small, was the stress tolerance practice. I mean, it was, I suppose, distressing. So we start at something really small and continue to work our way up. That is a realistic and intelligent battle plan. Like, I understand why you don't want to do something that's so small. It's humiliating. But if it does help, just know that if you're doing something that is humiliating and you feel humiliated, you're doing it right. You're doing it right. So continue to do things that are humiliating and you'll make progress. I want to conclude this video by saying that these realistic solutions done on several of these high yield, smaller component problems, done over time, will create exponential results. In 2 weeks, you'll see a difference, and in 2 months, you'll be somewhere you didn't even know you could be. To any of you that managed to watch it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. I do hope that you found something useful. I'm thinking of making more specific guides to more specific problems. I feel like the videos I'm making are too broad. They're not really helping anyone, I think. Good things come to those that act. Now, I want to end this video by saying that these realistic solutions... Goodness.